I have seen this before. Not in my lifetime, but I've read about it. I've seen images about this. Not this exact situation, but I've seen black individuals getting killed for voicing a political affiliation, particularly one that isn't so popular. Now, before we go into the article, I'm going to give you the general gist. A black Trump supporter who lives in Milwaukee apparently got shot. Now, the detectives are assuming that it's a political motive. You want to know why? Because the individual was a Trump supporter, and every day he would hold out signs that says "Vote Trump 2020," and he would recite Bible verses. Now, if it were me, like meaning if I was the one doing the investigation, I would no doubt conclude that it was someone from the left. You want to know why? Because the left doesn't like Donald Trump. In many cases, the left, they don't like church either. They don't like religion, specifically Christianity. So it's safe to say that the person who did this was someone who had a different political view. But when I say that I've seen this before, it's because the left claims to be fighting racism, but in reality, they're enacting right. They're enacting policies that their predecessors, the Democrats, used to do to suppress the black vote. They're engaging in policies that prevent minorities from actually rising up in the economic ladder. And they're using forms of intimidation to discourage any dissenting opinions. Now, the left, what they're doing right now is exactly what the KKK was doing during the time of Jim Crow, during the time of segregation. Like I said, before we go into this article, I'd like to read to you what the 15th Amendment says. Now, after the Civil War, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment were passed very swiftly. Very hard to do. Because it takes a lot of effort to pass an amendment or draft an amendment in the Constitution. It takes a lot of effort. So, within a short time, they managed to not only just put one amendment, not two, but three amendments that guaranteed the rights of the white individuals in America towards the black individuals. 13th, abolished slavery. 14th, granted equal protection under the law. And the 15th, and I think is one of the most important out of the three, except for the 13th. I'm going to go with 13th, 15th, and then 14th in terms of the ranking. But the 15th Amendment granted citizens the right to vote regardless of their race, regardless of their color, and regardless of their previous condition of servitude. In this case, being a slave. If you were a former slave, doesn't matter. You can vote. Now, granted, it was only for black men. It didn't include women until the 20th century. But that right there should have given African Americans the right to vote. But why did the South become dominated with many of these racist politicians? Many of these politicians who hated black people. If black people were outnumbering whites in the South, how did these politicians who clearly hate black people manage to get into power? Well, the Constitution is something called national supremacy, meaning that no law should supersede the Constitution. If the Constitution says you cannot discriminate based on race, or you cannot deny someone's right to vote based on race, well, you cannot create laws that contradict that, right? That's called national supremacy. Constitution is the highest law of the land. So, how do you prevent black people from voting? Because let's face it, black people were going to vote for Republicans at the time. The Republican Party was the one who freed them, who granted them their freedom. So how were the Democrats and the Southerners going to prevent the black population in the South from voting? They cannot make laws. So what do? Intimidation. Intimidation. Burn down their homes, lynchings, assassinations, post guard individuals at the polls holding rifles, mostly white, sometimes even members of the KKK. That's how you prevented the black community from voting. By intimidation. By threatening their lives, sometimes even killing them, for example. Like I said, I've seen things that are very horrible. I've seen images of two Klansmen guarding a poll, like a literally, like a voting booth area, right, where they accept votes, and then next to it you see a tree, and you see a black person hanging from that tree. That's how they prevented the black individuals in the South who outnumbered the whites at the time from voting. That's why you got a lot of politicians who were overt racists to take control of the South. That's what happened through intimidation. This individual right here was dealt with the exact same way. The Democrats haven't changed. They just changed their tactics, but they're still the same racist party that that was basically founded all the way back to literally Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson. Let's go with that. The guy was responsible for the death of many Native Americans, for that matter. The Democratic Party hasn't changed. Just their tactics have changed. But they're still doing the same thing. They're saying white people are better than you. That is why we must make you get hired, because we know you cannot do it on your own merit. They just hide it behind compassion. They hide it behind guilt, right? White supremacy guilt, to say that least, right? They still think they're better than you, but they feel bad about it. This individual was dealt in a very gruesome way. Like I said, Democrats are doing the exact same thing they were now. They do not want to see the black man vote for anyone else but themselves. They think that the Democrat Party is owed the black votes. That's what it is. The Democrats think that all minorities have to vote Democrat, and the Democrats think they're entitled to those votes. And that, to me, right there, is overt racism. I can vote however I see fit, but what I find very alarming is that this man was out in front of a store every single day. Apparently he was a business owner. He stood outside of his business and he was shot. And I think it was politically motivated. I really think I do. But is the media gonna talk about it? No. Is Black Lives Matter gonna start rioting in the name of this man? I doubt it. And I don't want them to, because I don't want them to ruin this man's name. If you're gonna protest, I'll join you. I'll join for the protest of this man. This man was unjustly killed. His life mattered. To me, at least. But what about Black Lives Matter? Does his life matter to Black Lives Matter? Does his life matter to the left? Or to the mainstream media like CNN and MSNBC? I doubt it. Because they're not gonna talk about it. They're not. They're not gonna talk about it. They're gonna be talking about Orange Man bad. But let's see what's going on, and I think again it's very disturbing. But hey, it's history repeating itself. The Democrats didn't want blacks to vote in the past, and now that they can vote, because there's actually passed laws ever since then that you can't do anything to prevent any form of intimidation, right? To prevent people from voting based on race. Well, now they're just gonna silence you. They're still not happy though. They still think the black vote is theirs, that they deserve that black vote because it's owed to them, right? They own the black vote, at least that's what they think. And they can't stand the idea of a minority, such as this gentleman, who decides to think the other way. Thinking to myself, no, I want to vote who I want to vote for, and who represents my best interests. And he thinks that Donald Trump represents his best interests, and that's why he was targeted for it. So for this gentleman, rest in peace. I hope he's in a better place. But to the monsters who did this, I'm not gonna ask for their motive. I'm pretty sure the motive is already pretty clear. But hopefully the cops find these individuals and bring them to justice. Let's see what's going on. Detectives are investigating whether a black Donald Trump supporter was shot and killed in Milwaukee over his politics. Bernell Trammell, I think that's how you pronounce it. Again, my apologies if I mispronounced the name. Who was 60 years old, was gunned down in a drive-by shooting on Thursday at 12:30 p.m. It was in the middle of the day. It wasn't even at night. It was in the middle of the day. That's frightening. He was shot down at 12:30 p.m. in the neighborhood where he was known for his signs that said "Vote Trump 2020" and recited Bible verses. Okay, Daily Mail. Seriously, spelling check, man. It's verses, not verses as in against someone, okay? Seriously, man. Come on, Daily Mail. Do better. He was found dead in front of his business where he sold his expressions journal, and had handmade placards backing a range of movements, including Black Lives Matter, in the window. So not only did this man support Black Lives Matter, he also supported Donald Trump. Think about that. Wow. Pretty sure the left didn't like that. But hey, man, more power to you. It's America. Free speech. That's what it is. You have the right to express yourself how you see fit. Doesn't matter if you like it. You cannot infringe. You cannot trample on someone else's rights. A memorial with flowers and candles has now been set up on the sidewalk as police look into what happened. And if you see the image here, this is the image of the individual. One holding up a sign, on the one on the right showing just the face of the man. There has not yet landed. They have not yet landed a motive, but aren't discounting his links to the GOP. Adebisi Agora, I think that's how you pronounce it. Adebisi Agora, who knew Trammell, told Fox 6 he stopped by Trammell's office just 2 hours before the shooting on Thursday morning to discuss politics. He's just a community figure, Agoro said. I respected him just because he had a position. He's got his opinion on why he feels that way, and I'm not going to knock him for it. I appreciate that, sir. I don't know if it's a woman or a man. Kind of hard to tell. Again, my apologies, but props to you, Adebisi Agoro. Props to you. You're one of those individuals who still believes in what makes America great. The right to express yourself, and if people disagree with you, they have a right to disagree in a very civilized manner. Roommates Andrew Olmsted and Taylin Pulley left their apartment to play basketball when they saw cops pull out outside. We saw the cops pull up, the vans, ambulance, firefighters, and we sat and watched. They gave CPR for about 15 to 20 minutes. Jeanette Island said she would pop in the storefront of his 3-story building where he had we had a publishing company, talking religion from Christianity to Rastafari. I think that's how you pronounce it. Many community members knew Trammell for his political science and Rastafari religious views. And then you see in the picture right here, it shows literally, the memorial that they put up for him. It was a very deep conversation, very philosophical. Island told Fox News he was a really great guy. He meant no harm. Reggie Moore, director of Milwaukee's Office of Violence Prevention, told the Milwaukee Sentinel-Journal he recently intervened in a dispute between Trammell and a young man over a Trump sign he was carrying. But community members told CBS 58 that Trammell was an independent who supported candidates on both sides of the aisle, including President Donald Trump in the presidential race and Senator Lena Taylor, Democrat in the Milwaukee mayoral race. He believed in democracy. He believed in the right to free speech, said John Self, who had many conversations with Trammell over the years. I don't think he ever once tried to convert you or change you. He would just tell you what he thought. He would listen to what you had to think, and then he would respect that. There's a community, there's a lot of diversity, a lot of thoughts, a lot of different ideas, and I think that's what he represented about the community. That you could express yourself and you could express your opinions, and that's why he felt comfortable here, I'm sure, Self said. But this right here, what's going on? I've seen it before, I've read about it in the past, and like all historians like to say, those who do not know their history are doomed to repeat it. That's what happens. The left likes to say that they're fighting racism, but they're engaging in racist activities. They're telling you that you cannot succeed in America because you're not white. What kind of racist ideology is that? They hate you if you disagree with their ideologies, and if you're a minority, God forbid, they know that you do not vote for Democrats or you do not vote for the leftist ideologies because they will hate you for it. Some cases they might even threaten to kill you. Now this man, like I said, I think it was politically motivated. It's safe to assume at this point. We know how the left is doing. We know what the left are doing now. They don't like minorities who do not think like they do. And I think that to me is very, very frightening, to say the least. Because this man, I would have probably gone along with him. The guy, he's someone that represents the ideologies that founded this country and make this country great. We can have different opinions as long as we're not forcing each other, as long as we're not coercing each other to change our views. By all means, have at them, have conversations, right? This man right here, I would have gone along with him. I would have gone up to him and asked him, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Now, I'm not the most religious person. Like I said, even though I did try to go to church in January, unfortunately, the church is closed. I'm not the most religious person, but I would ask him, hey, what do you think of the Bible? What are some things that, that catch your attention? And I would have those conversations with the man. I would have. But this man, he was killed over his political affiliation. That to me is just sad. The media isn't going to talk about it though because it doesn't fit their narrative. It doesn't. It doesn't fit their narrative. But going to that topic, I am aware that if you are an open Trump supporter, you can potentially be subject to these things. I'm aware of those things, but I choose to still wear my hats. I still choose to decorate my car how I see fit because I believe that I have a right to express myself. And I believe that the moment I let someone intimidate me into not expressing my beliefs, that means my opposition has won. Now, I have a few pictures of that I'm going to be showing you how some people might put a target on my back. Now this is my car. It's a Prius, haha, whatever. Again, I live in California. Gas is not cheap in California. But I have a sticker right there that says all aboard on the Trump train. And then the other one says Trump 2020, make liberals cry again. I also have a Trump Keep America Great sticker. And like if you haven't seen this image before, if you're new to the channel, well, this is an image of me and my girlfriend after we went to the shooting range. Now I covered my girlfriend's face up for her privacy, but I'm not gonna cover mine. And I'm wearing my Trump 2020 Keep America Great hat. I like to wear those hats all the time. And who do you think has the responsibility of not overreacting? Right now, here's the thing: because a lot of my close, a lot of my loved ones like to say that I wear those hats to get a reaction out of people. Okay, well, if you're saying that I wear specific clothing to get a reaction out of people, then that means that when these individuals like to wear certain clothes that are provocative, right, that could entice certain individuals to, to accost them, to harass them, because and then telling them all these things like, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" That means that you're wearing that type of provocative clothing because you want to get a reaction out of men, right? They say, "Well, that's not the same thing." Well, yes, it is. Same logic, same thing, right? I don't believe that, but whose reaction is it to not engage in something that could potentially be illegal? I think it falls on the person. It falls on the person that sees something they do not like. For example, if I see someone wearing the shirt, let's say a purple shirt, and I don't like the color purple, what I have two options. I can either mind my own business, which is the most logical thing to do, and it's the most mature thing to do, or I can harass the person and saying, "You need to take off that shirt because I don't like it." What do you think is the most mature thing to do? The former, right? I just mind my own business. I don't like the color purple, but hey, that person has a right to wear what they want. But the left doesn't seem to do that. They believe that the latter is they believe the latter is the most mature response, and that's why they act like kids. They don't like something, no one has a right to partake in it. If they don't like hamburgers, then no one has a right to eat hamburgers because they don't like them. If they don't like the color black, well, because then no one else has a right to wear the color black, right? That's what the leftists do. But I know, I'm aware. I'm aware that when I wear those hats, because again, I have a right to express myself, I can get someone who might be a psycho. So unfortunately, I haven't been threatened yet, but there have been times when I've been told that I'm a race traitor, that I'm a disgrace to my people, even though my people are the United States of America. I'm an American. I view myself as an American despite being of Hispanic descent. This man, like I said, I've seen this before. Democrats haven't changed. The left hasn't changed. They never liked the idea of black individuals voting. That is why they intimidated these black individuals by literally guarding the voting booths. Right? They use intimidation to prevent them from voting. And now they're doing the exact same thing. They see a minority who's a conservative or a Trump supporter, they don't like them. They threaten them. Sometimes, like in this case, like in this individual, he was killed for it. But Black Lives Matter isn't going to be holding any protests for him anytime soon. They're not. We all know how Black Lives Matter are. They only care about individuals that fit their narrative, so it goes for the media. But what do you guys think? Do you think this man was killed it was just a coincidence, or do you think it was politically motivated? Do you think that they targeted him because he was a black Trump supporter? And do you believe that the Democratic Party hasn't changed at all in terms of how they view minorities? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Share the video, subscribe, like the video, helps out a lot. And in the last month, my subscriber count has gone significantly up. I had like 60 in the beginning of July, and all of a sudden it went up to 85. So you sharing the video does help out a lot. I very much appreciate it. And in the next coming videos, it's going to be a little bit more positive because, like I said, I know I know it sounds bad. It is bad. It is bad. It's a horrible thing that happened. But I want to end things on a more positive note. Hopefully, you guys will find the next video very very happy, right? Very enjoyable in terms of the justice being served. I'll see you guys in a bit.